Yeah, hi kids, it's me, the Red Panther, your old buddy. And now we're in Oceanside, California. We're going to be talking to Bob Anderson. We're at the Pilots Training Facility, Pilots Training Center. This is like an MMA gym for those who have never seen one of these before. And Bob Anderson has come down.
Say hi.
Bob Anderson, originally from Torrance, California.
Originally.
No, I'm
born in California, Oakland.
Oh, born in Oakland. I'm sorry.
Grew up in Torrance.
I'm gonna put brackets on this before I start asking Bob questions. And here's the deal. I'm gonna tell you my part in this. And I met Bob in 1968 with Athletes in Action for a wrestling team, and I've known Bob ever since. And Bob's right now living in Redondo Beach.
Redondo Beach,
correct?
California.
Correct, Amundo?
My old stomping area.
But
Redondo, Manhattan, Hermosa.
When I originally met Bob, you were living in
San Clemente?
Torrance.
Torrance. No, that's right. Oh yeah, Athletes in Action. 68. I was in.
Let's go back to 68.
Yeah.
That's what. That's when I met Bob. But Bob went to high school there.
Yeah, I went to South High School, Torrance,
and
El Camino Junior College there.
And El Camino. But let's back up a little bit. When did you actually start wrestling?
1959. My high school football coach, Bob Bonheim, who was an interesting guy. He was Jewish, that believed that Jesus was his Messiah, and he talked about it now and then. He made me come out for wrestling. I used to watch Haystack Calhoun, Gorgeous George with my grandmother on television, and jumping off the top ropes and doing all this stuff. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going out for that. I said, that's crazy. And he goes, it's not like that. You're going out. And I said, no, I'm not. And he says, you don't get your letter in football unless you try for 2 weeks. You got to come out for 2 weeks. And I go, oh.
Well, okay. let me ask this real quick. What position were you playing in football?
I was playing linebacker, mainly, just linebacker. I was junior varsity. Okay.
And you're what now, like a sophomore?
I was a sophomore. It was my first year in high school. I'm actually my first year in football. And those are the Thundering Dogs.
Yeah, those are the dogs behind it. So you're a sophomore in high school, football coach says you're going out.
Yep. Didn't have a choice. I would have never went out for wrestling if it wasn't for him.
Football season's over,
and
winter comes, and here comes wrestling season.
Yep. And so I trained for 2 weeks, trying my best. He says, you got to have a match with the varsity guy. This guy's a senior, placed in CIF. And I'm going, what? I said, no way. I can't beat this guy. I can't wrestle this guy. I've just been out 2 weeks. He goes, you got to try, or you're not getting your letter. You got to at least just go out and try. I don't care if you lose, you're pinned, or what. Just try. So I go out and try my best, and I ended up losing by 1 point. And I go, wow, man, this guy's a senior. I've only been out for 2 weeks. I could make varsity. Just got to keep practicing, keep training, and I'll be beating this guy. So
wait a minute, what are you weighing?
167.
167.
Actually, I weighed 165 to be exact. I never weighed that, the weight class I was under it. And so I keep trying. I keep trying to keep losing by 1 point, 2 points, 1 point, 2 points. And then there's a verse in the Bible that says, so a man thinks in his heart he is. Well, I kept believing that I could beat this guy. And finally, towards a little bit past mid-season, I start beating him by 1 point. And I made varsity. Didn't do that good. Took 5th in league. Could have done a little bit better, but I had big saucers in my eyes. And so, but the funny part of this story is, not that I'm a great wrestler or anything, it was that the coach told the varsity senior to keep it close to keep me out. Smart guy. And so that changed my whole career in life in a sense of really staying out for wrestling.
Holy cow, wait a minute. The coach was using psychology on you.
Yeah.
And the other guy went along with it.
Yeah. The other guy's a pastor. Really, he was a really strong Christian kid, and he went along with it. And then somehow I started beating him.
On your own?
On my own, yeah.
Well, no, wait a minute. Let's. The coach. What was his name again?
His name was Bob Bonheim.
Bob Bonheim. Okay.
He's still alive today.
Still. That's your high school wrestling coach.
Yep. And so is my junior college coach. He's 92 and he's still alive.
Wow. So you continue to play football.
Yeah. After I went out for wrestling, I learned so much about body position and different things and fitness and intensity. I went from sometimes first string junior varsity, my first year out. My second year out for football was my junior year. I was first string varsity. I played offense and defensive tackle at 172 pounds. And I made all league and I made second team all-stars.
And in general, how did you guys do as a football team?
Football team, we were just so-so. We won, I think we lost more than we won. It was about a little bit past like 60-40 or something.
And give us an idea who you would play football and wrestle against. Just a couple of the teams back then.
Inglewood, Redondo Beach, let's see, North High, Lusinger, places like that. Actually, some of those guys went on and played, the quarterback played professional. Some of them went on to big schools and played for USC and played different ones in our league.
Back then,
yeah.
Eventually, did you have to cut any weight?
No. The next year, I was wrestling 67, and I weighed about 68, 69 normally. Good workout, and then I just miss a meal at night, and that was it, and I was fine for making weight. So I was wrestling 167, but there was another guy, Stan Fleener, who was a really good wrestler and wrestled a couple of years before, and we'd be really close. We'd have a wrestle off. He'd win one time, I'd win the next. It was really close. So I kept, when he put me up at 183 then, I was about max 170. Put me up at a 183, I'd win. He put Fleener up at 183, he'd lose every time. So Fleener was smarter than me. He wanted us at 167, so he'd lose. I'd win. And the coach goes, wait a minute here. You're staying up at 83, and Fleener's staying at 67. Our team's stronger that way. So
you eventually wrestled a weight heavier than you were.
Oh yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. And that's 183, and then they usually gave you a 2-pounder, so it was even weighted. And that's when I started having my big rival, Redondo Beach, Dominic Carollo, eventually NCAA champion, Pan American Games champion, and in the Hall of Fame, and NEI national champion. And
so you ended up wrestling Nick Carollo in high school.
And we were bitter enemies then. We went back and forth. He would win the tournament, then I'd come back and beat him in the duel. I'd win the tournament, then he'd come back and beat me in a sectional or something. And we went back and forth. So I ended up, my second year out for wrestling, I ended up third in what they call the Masters tournament. It had over 288 schools. It's gone to 300 and something now.
Hold it right there, Bob. We're gonna leave for a second and start on another part of this.
Sure.
We've got Bob in high school, and he's up a weight, and he's wrestling Nick Carollo. We'll be right back, kids.